Morning, all. Oh, it feels like it should be morning, all, doesn't it? News of the daytime. So, the draft is still going. They're not televising it on Sportsnet anymore. It only went on for 4 hours. Last I saw, round 4. Dear NHL, this is too long. I understand. It's virtual, and they're trying to milk it for as much advertising money as possible. That's too long for rounds 2 through 7. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm telling you, taking 3 minutes in between draft picks in rounds 2 and 3 are that's just... All right. Now, at the draft, I'm not doing a video all on of its own because it's a minor deal at this point, but Lias Andersson is no longer Rangers property. He was dealt to the LA Kings for a second-round pick, 60th overall, and the Rangers pretty happy with the player they got at 60th. And we'll see how things go for Andersson with the Kings. It's a reclamation project. There's no real huge risk in this if you're the Kings. You've got a lot of good young players. Now you've added Andersson to that group. Andersson wasn't going to come back and play for the Rangers, so they didn't really have any leverage when it came to a trade with Andersson. I like the deal. I like that the Rangers get something for it. And now that whole, could Andersson pull Järvi? No. And this is part of the reason why Puljujarvi is still a member of the Oilers. Puljujarvi has more value than Andersson, but I don't think it's that much because he hasn't played in the NHL for a while. So we don't know how things are going to work for him in the National Hockey League. Then the Nashville Predators made news this morning in that they've put Kyle Turris and Steven Santini on waivers for the purpose of a buyout. So both of those players getting bought out, and we'll see who picks them up and for how much. Ryan Strome does get a qualifying offer. So there was some debate about whether or not the Rangers would actually throw him a qualifying offer. They have. And we'll see what happens this offseason, whether or not they keep Strome or if they use his rights and trade him somewhere else. I'm figuring there's still room for him on the team, but there's a lot of top 6 forwards for the Rangers considering they just drafted Lafreniere. And so they're going to have to do some shuffling around of players, or maybe somebody gets traded. And it might end up being Strome that ends up getting traded at the end of the day. Max Domi is reported to be close to an extension with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So going from Montreal to Columbus, he's dealing with a different general manager. A manager that traded for him clearly sees the potential in him. And so Max Domi is getting close to an extension with Columbus. We'll likely see that happen, I would think, over the next 24 hours. Just that Elliot Friedman was reporting it, and usually when he's reporting they're close, you can pretty much take that to the bank. So Domi's close to an extension with Columbus. We'll see what the dollar figure is there, and then we'll see with Josh Anderson with with Montreal. Sorry, there's a lot of teams in my brain right now, a lot of names in my brain, so I'm trying to kick all that out right now for this video. So we'll see what Anderson gets from the Habs. And what Domi gets, and then we'll maybe come back and look at that trade again when we look at the cap hits and how all that works out too. If you're a Canuck fan and you wanted Markstrom to stay, it looks like he's hitting the market. It looks like at this point in time the Canucks haven't been able to work a deal, and so cue the conversation about who they're going to bring in and what they're going to do. I think Greiss would be a good fit. Greiss is not going to be a guy who costs a lot of money. You might be able to bring him in on a 1 or a 2 year deal and just kick that can down the road. And if you're Vancouver, losing Markstrom it sucks, and that would be, awful to see him potentially end up with Edmonton, which is one of those under the radar type teams that I've heard a couple of different people talk about. But the worst case scenario would be that you re-sign him for too much money just to try to keep him off the market, and then you end up costing yourself down the road. Because, of course, they have to look at next year. They have to look at the Seattle expansion, and they have to look at the fact that they have to re-sign Pettersson, they have to re-sign Hughes, and they have to re-sign Demko. So there you go. Dylan DeMello has signed a 4-year extension with the Winnipeg Jets. He will not be going to the market for $3 million per, so $12 million in total. Chandler Stevenson, a deal that was just announced, has signed a 4-year extension with Vegas for $11 million. So his cap hit, $2.75 million. Vegas needs to clear off some cap. Vegas is going to be over the cap. You're allowed to be over the cap by, I think it's 10% in the offseason. But they're going to need to clear out some salary here. They've got to clear some money off their books. They're going to have a hard time getting a team on the ice at this rate. Brendan Dillon, last night this was announced, and I thought I'll throw it in the news of the day. I had no idea how late the news of the day would get posted. 4 years, $15.6 million with Dillon, $3.9 million cap hit. That's not bad, but you have to think Winnipeg probably got a good deal then with DeMello, right? So for an extra $1 million, you get Dillon. I don't know. Again, the market is really kind of all over the place right now because different GMs are likely dealing with quite different circumstances when it comes to their monies. So Dillon makes out pretty well. 4 years, he's staying in Washington. A couple of minor signings for Tampa, but again, Tampa doesn't have a lot of cap space, so now they don't have $5.3 million for next year. Stevens signs a 2-year extension for $1.475 million in total, so $737.5 thousand is his cap, so $737,500 cap hit. Jamel Smith has signed a 1-year league minimum $700,000 extension with Tampa as well. So yeah, news of the day. And we'll see what else happens between now and the end of the day. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's still trades out there to be had. And watch for free agency to cause another series of events to take place. There are certain GMs that I think are holding off on the trade block because they want to see what happens with free agency. And nobody has money right now. And so the teams that do have money really shouldn't be just willy-nilly spending it like crazy. And for the teams that have a salary cap problem, maybe don't rush to try, don't allow that gun to your head to cause you make really bad decisions. So I'm looking to see if there's some really bad decisions made. The draft today I thought was pretty well done in terms of the players that got picked and where they got picked. I think there's some GMs that did very, very well for themselves. I think Calgary did really well at the draft, but once the draft's all done, we can take a look at that and see, who we think did really well. I don't do winners and losers, but I will say, yep, I think these teams did really well. And I'll leave it at that. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video, and it's a good thing I got a Thatcher Demko jersey because looks like he'll be the starter for Vancouver in all likelihood next season, and good luck to him with that. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts. I will likely be back with more news later on in the day, but yeah, this is where the video output on this channel goes kind of through the roof, and this will probably be the really busy time for the next probably about 5-7 days, and then it's going to go quiet again, and I'll be into doing all the playlist stuff that I do during off seasons. So I've already got a couple of playlist ideas set up, and yeah, we'll see how that all goes and what I do the playlists of, and I'll probably just keep doing career videos as well. And I will say this, for prospects who got drafted that I haven't done prospect videos for, especially those in the first and second round, yes, I will put together prospect videos for them as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It's been a fun day. It's been a busy day. I may be tired from last night, but yeah, it's fine. It's a good tired. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. I'll talk to you again soon.